with the times.
छोटो को प्यार, बड़ों को प्रणाम, नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल, आदाब. What I really mean is love and blessings to all my younger ones, and respect to my elders. Today in Sydney, we would be talking to Member of Parliament from Greenway, Michelle Rowland. Michelle, welcome to the show. In the current scenario with COVID-19 that has affected the whole world, how has this current situation affected you as a Member of Parliament?
This is one of those situations where there's no playbook, there's no guide to how to be a Member of Parliament in these circumstances. So I think particularly over the last 3 or so weeks, myself and my staff have been looking at what we think is best practice from a health perspective, but also just in terms of what is the role of an MP at this time. It's a real balance between trying to help disseminate good information into the community that's of benefit to people. But fundamentally, it's a real challenge for people like myself who takes very seriously their role as a Member of Parliament. And it's all about relationships. It's all about being out and about at different events. And of course, that isn't happening at the moment. So we're doing a lot of things differently. Our office is still open and here to help people, but we're doing a lot of it in different ways. So the ways we communicate now is primarily electronic, sending out reliable information by email, responding to queries, doing this over the phone, but also engaging people who have wide contacts to share information through their WhatsApp groups and other sort of family chat channels, for example. So it's changing the nature of what we do, but having sat down and really evaluated how we can do our job, I think the best thing to be at this time is accessible, to let people know I'm here to help. It's just being delivered in a different way under the current circumstances.
You have a very, very large migrant community in your electorate. What has been the impact to them and how do you think they're handling it?
I think this pandemic is impacting people in a variety of ways, and irrespective of whether they're from a migrant background or not, it really is having a dramatic impact on people's lives. Everything from having one or more children at home for schooling, having to work from home. Many people who have never been out of work in their lives have unfortunately lost their jobs. So it really is a financial, an emotional and a health issue, irrespective of your background. But I really must commend many members of our migrant communities, and of course here in northwest Sydney we have a large subcontinent community sector. Now some of these have really stepped up, and without wanting to miss anyone, everyone from the Hindu Council of Australia to various Sikh groups to the Ahmadiyas, they have all really been proactive in saying we're here to help, everything from meals to assisting with shopping, and also support services. This time it is really taking a toll on a lot of people's mental health, and knowing that you're not alone, that you're still connected, is really important. Also, a lot of migrant families, small business owners or sole traders, and this has hit some of them very hard. But equally, there are some where there is great demand, such as retail, some retail and grocery supplies, for example. Restaurants have had to adjust how they operate as well. So it really is having a huge impact in a variety of ways on our community.
What is your opinion on the rescue package announced by the government, and is it adequate for the small business and the sole traders?
The thing about stimulus, as we saw in the global financial crisis, which now seems like a distant memory, is you need to get this money out the door into people's pockets and into the economy fast. So an enormous amount of money has been announced in a variety of tranches and delivering that money in different ways. I think we're up to about the third tranche now as it stands in early April. So Whilst on one hand it is necessary that we have this stimulus, one of the concerns that I have, and this is receiving feedback from my own constituents, is how quickly that money is actually getting to people. I continue to receive calls from people saying they thought they were supposed to receive up to $750 by now and they haven't received it yet. And for some people who are really doing it tough, even before this crisis emerged, that really is a significant issue for them if they haven't got money to spend now. A lot of people have budgeted on the basis that they would be getting this money. So the stimulus is absolutely necessary. It remains to be seen, and it may be many years before it's actually seen the tangible benefits of this. The economy has fundamentally changed. We hark back to the Great Depression, but really even then and even during the Second World War, those years, the economy is fundamentally different to what it was then. It's very strong in some areas, but very fragile in others. It's the sectoral changes that have gone on have been massive since that time. So in other words, there's really no precedent for knowing the measure of success at this stage. And I don't think we're going to know for quite some time to come yet.
Union movement has been asking for 80% wage subsidy. By adopting this policy, it would have made some difference to the small businesses. What's your view on that?
This should make a difference. We still have yet to see the detail of what has been proposed here, and you'll be well aware Labor was calling for this some time ago. It's the model that has been introduced in the United Kingdom, for example, but we still are seeking a briefing from the government on this. It should provide some certainty to employers and employees alike. But again, this is something the government was resisting for some time and trotted out a lot of arguments for why it wasn't possible. But look, we are very pleased that this has finally been agreed to by the government. But again, we wait to see the details and to know what the impact will be.
How are you passing out the message to the community in your electorate on the do's and don'ts on coronavirus?
Various cohorts in the community like to communicate in different ways. So, for example, a lot of people choose to communicate through the established platforms like Facebook or Twitter. Nearly everyone has an email address, so I'm sending out bulk emails to people. It's really finding that balance in those digital cases of useful information without clogging inboxes, because people will be receiving so much information from anything that they've subscribed to, and there's so much news out there. So really, to get your message to cut through, what I've been doing at the moment is where there's a new announcement or really simplifying the message, is getting that on the platforms and getting that out quickly to people. So finding that balance is important, but also there's some community members, including in particular older people, who don't utilise digital or social media as much. So I've been communicating through letter, through phone calls, and I know that that's getting out because we've received a lot of incoming email and phone calls in response to that. So clearly that is working. I think one thing to stress is that you shouldn't believe everything that you read on Facebook or the internet. There's a lot of fake news out there, and a lot of people also risk forum shopping or information shopping, getting the information that they want. So putting various search terms into Google until they get the answer they want. That's not helpful in terms of having the most reputable and up-to-date sources of information. Always go to a news source you can trust. The official site is health.gov.au. ABC and SBS are public broadcasters, and of course excellent local community media like the Fiji Times should always be trusted ahead of a lot of what people might end up seeing on or the internet.
What will Australia look like at the end of this coronavirus? This has to end one day. So what do you think Australia would look like at the end of this?
I think that's the question that is on everyone's minds. What are we going to look like, and how long will we be in this current situation? And I don't think anyone has an answer to that yet. But having thought about this, I'm actually quite positive about the future. I think that it will necessitate a lot of change in the economy. Take the retail sector, for example. There are some aspects of retail that are doing very well, that have adapted very strongly to an online presence. But again, there are some sectors of retail that have not. We now only have one large department store chain in Australia, for example. A lot of those smaller ones have closed. We've seen Myer suspend its operations recently. So a lot will change in that sector. But I also think this gives an opportunity for Australia to choose how we want to reinvent ourselves. Investing in technology and science may well be something that's not looked upon as something niche, but as something as essential. I think it'll also change the way we work as more and more people need to work from home and to study from home. I think that people will adapt to those sorts of circumstances. I think education will change. I wonder whether the large lecture hall theatre style of learning that was around when I was a student will actually continue beyond the pandemic. But certainly I think that people are going to reevaluate their lives and what's important to them. A lot of families, I think, have come closer together, but I also think that this time there is a lot of stress and tension amongst families as well. And issues that were there before the pandemic, such as unacceptable rates of family violence, one can only imagine how that is emerging in this current environment. So I think there will be a lot of challenges, but without any doubt, we will be doing things differently, be it getting used to doing things differently, or we decide we like the new way in which we're operating. And I think both the business community and consumers will respond in different ways to those changes. The one thing I think is clear is that technology is going to continue to play an even greater role in our lives. It really has been the lifeline for a lot of people in order to stay connected. A lot of people are doing meetings by different platforms such as Zoom or House Party now. These are terms that weren't even known 4 weeks ago, and now they really are global. So I think things will irreversibly change in some areas, but also human beings will change as well.
तो आज हमने की मिशेल रोलैंड से बातचीत और मैं आपका नवनीत। मिशेल, थैंक यू सो मच।